I'm at Priddy, the Priddy Folk Festival. I'm in the PTA tent, because it's that kind of a festival. That I'm fairly sure is instant coffee, but if it's like last year, there'll be somewhere in the other field selling proper coffee and those little Spanish donuts, and that's definitely little Spanish donuts and a bacon and egg sandwich. I think that does my 5 a day. Pretty, don't you? It's in between Glastonbury and Wells. It's a little village with a regular bus service every Tuesday, and every year on my birthday I have a folk festival. It's not actually my birthday, it's nearly my birthday. Unlike some of the big festivals where there are thousands of tents and a complicated programme, and it's really hard to decide which to go to, Priddy has 2 tents and a programme, and it's really hard to decide what to go to. Actually, I made a fairly firm decision about all festivals in the future, which is I don't tent jump. I pick the act I most want to see, and I go to that stage, and I stay there. On the first night, I decided that the band I most wanted to hear are Belshazzar's Feast, who is Paul Sartin from Bellahead. Not from Bellahead anymore, because Bellahead's gone away, but was from Bellahead. And another guy called Paul Hutchinson, playing music.
Lights on, all among the corn and clover. Lights on, when the time for work is over. Oh, there's rest for horse and man. When the longest day is done, and they all go home together at the setting of the sun.
I've said before that they're absolutely wonderful. They're the only people I've ever come across where the music is funny. The banter in between the music is very funny, but the music itself is funny. And there's lots of, one of them's playing one tune and another one sort of drifts into the wrong tune. Something which claimed to be a Morris dance from Worthing turns into I Do Want to Be Beside the Seaside. They finish playing against each other in something that someone claims is a Cornish Morris dance to perform with pasties, and the other one claims is actually a Danish Morris dance to be performed with Danish pastries. Wonderful. So having decided to be in that tent, I also heard the Misshaped Pearls. I know that name, but I didn't remember the band, who were singing very odd and eclectic takes on traditional music. I liked them. To hear them again. I suppose I should have bought the record, but very interesting. The main singer had beautiful voice. Laura Beth Salter and Jen Butterworth, who were two girls from, I think they say Glasgow, Scotland, that place that's still part of Europe, doing some songs, not traditional songs but folky covers mostly, and lots of traditional Scottish and folky. I really shouldn't call all instrumental folk music diddly diddly dee, but you know what I mean. That kind of stuff. Very good indeed. In fact, biggest ovation of the evening. Standing ovation. Another standing ovation when they came back on stage to take their instruments off. I didn't go that far myself because I'm more interested in stories about kings being hung, drawn and quartered. But I did think they were damn good.
There's a time for love and laughter. The days will pass like summer storm. The winter wind will follow after. But there is love, and love is warm. There is a time for us to wonder, and time is young, and so are we. The words of green are over yonder. The path is new, the world is free.
And then they wound the evening up with the Dry Stones, who were the two lads from the local school, who, as they said, started out doing a sort of spontaneous spot on the club stage 5 years ago. Yeah, first year I came. And are now opening for Steel Ice Band, apparently. They're that good.
Jewel slim, he had a leg for everything. But now he's got no legs at all, cause he ran a race with a cannonball, a cannonball. Yes, he ran a race with a cannon, Jack the lad. He went off the wall, waved bye-bye as he ran out the door. Says bye-bye John, well I'll see you again when you're back in Iraq, in Afghanistan, in the Taliban.
Sometimes you could wish that all their friends from school didn't occupy the mosh and try to make more noise than they did. No, that's deeply unfair comment. Cut that comment, because it's wonderful to people dancing along and singing along.
Stay on the shore for the space of 7.5 years or more. Till a big transport come across the sky and I shouted aloud, would you clear the way, would you clear the way? I shouted aloud, would you clear the way? The captain said, are you here with the living, are you back with the dead? Did you see anything of my son John? Is the boy living or is he gone? Is he gone? Is the poor boy living on the sea?
They are astonishingly good. The one guy basically does fiddle, the other guy does guitar and penny whistle, and Neither of them have fantastic singing voices, but the singing is good enough. They're mostly instrumental. They do a couple of songs.
Up comes John, he's got no legs, got carbon fibre blades instead. She smiled as she kissed him over the law. Bet you run quicker than you did before, Bet you run quicker than you did. Were you deaf or were you blind when you left your own two legs behind? Or did you go walking along the sea when you were your two legs right down to the knee, down to the knee? When you were your two legs right down to the knee. I was not deaf, I was not blind when I left my own two legs behind. But a thundering man jumped in the way, wore these two legs down to the knee, down to the knee. Wore my two legs down to the knee.
In the stage profession, I'm told that people talk about having it, quote, it, unquote, that you can actually be a good actor and not have it, or vice versa, someone who can't really act somehow got the personality to make it on the stage. You only have to look at these two guys, and I'm fairly sure. I just checked the programme, and I will continue to refer to the Dry Stones as the lad with the guitar and the lad with the violin, because it doesn't say the actual names in the programme. But no, I'm fairly sure the first year I came, or the second year, the first year I came when they were still part of a lineup of the school folk band, basically, a dozen kids. I'm fairly sure I looked at the lad with the violin and just spotted his stage presence, the way he's comfortable with the audience, the way he moves. I mean, not that this isn't a matter of genius on my part, anyone will look at it and see, but he has a stage presence. I mean, he's trying, he wants too badly to be Seth Langman at the moment, but then which of us doesn't?
I was tall, I was slim, I had a leg for every limb. But the chicken hawk come knocking at the door. Crew, Britannia, all four, two, four.
And then I walked up the hill, and this church hall, and in the church hall there was a somewhat fantastic. I would call them a klezmer band. Their write-up calls them something like a turbo funk gypsy klezmer shoegaze band, which Folk Buddy famously said those are just words. They're very fast and silly and exaggerated, but I don't think there's much going on that isn't, I would recognise as traditional music. I mean, Churchill was packed and it was loud and sweaty, and a girl called Tabitha asked if she could stroke my hair because it was so lovely, and then asked if I worked in IT, and I said no, but have another guess. And they said teacher, and I said no, but have another guess, and they said librarian, and then they hugged me because they thought being a librarian was so brilliant. Tabitha sold wine, which she didn't think was as important as being a librarian, and I felt the need to quote Omar Khayyam, here with a loaf of bread beneath here with a loaf of bread beneath the bough, a flask of wine, a book of verse, and thou together with me in the wilderness, and wilderness were paradise. And now, does that have anything to do with what I'm talking about? No, it doesn't. Baba, they're very good. I mean, the tone of the evening, apart from the fact that I was hugging strangers, that comes into this, doesn't it? I was hugging strangers at Glastonbury. The tone of the Ishti Baba concert could be gained by the fact that they sang what I think they said was a Bulgarian song called, with a refrain that went, "Let's all get drunk at the wedding." Let's all get drunk at the wedding. Let's all get drunk at the wedding. And then said, and now we're going to do one by Martin Carthy. So, Saturday morning, pretty rising in the little tent. No, in the big tent. Fuck, I'm not doing this very well, am I? Hello, it's Sunday morning, and I didn't do a lot of sleeping last night, it must be said, which is probably good for a festival. Hot vultures in the church. That's not an infestation, that's a group. Hot Vultures is Maggie Holland, and that's Maggie, a place called England, Holland, and Ian Anderson, that's Ian Fruits Anderson. Apparently were a band like 30 years ago, and they've just come back together. I liked very much indeed Americana and Traddy English and even slightly mad pop covers. I didn't want pop, but mad, song covers. I didn't get who the weird one about the Flying Saucer was about. It wasn't the Bonzo Dogs, but it was someone like that. Loved them very much. They're playing Bristol. I'm going to go and hear them again. Another set by Belshazzar's Feast, which was exactly like the other set by Belshazzar's Feast, which was wonderful. And then still in the church building for Three Cane Whale, who are far too clever for me. Oh, it's ethereal, tinkly music on 75 different instruments, where they say this is a sound picture of a Neolithic fort we once visited. Oh, yes, if you like music, you'll love it. I didn't get it at all. Did a bit of stage hopping in the evening. Did say I wasn't going to do that, but I was up against a real clash, because the very wonderful Roaring Troman were in the small tent and Lady Maisry was in the big tent, so I fought the Troman, who are just lovely.
It's a damn tough life full of toil and strife we whalermen undergo, and we don't give a damn when we drink our rum with the girls that ride below. For we're homeward bound, a damn fine sound on a good ship taut and free, and we don't give a damn when we drink our rum with the girls from old Maui. Rolling down to old Maui, my boys, rolling down to old Maui. We're homeward bound from the Arctic round, rolling down to old Maui. Once more we sail with a northerly gale through the ice, the wind and the rain, and them coconut fronds in them tropic lands we soon shall see again. 6 hellish months have passed away in the cold Kamchatka Sea, and now we're bound from the Arctic round, rolling down to old Maui. Rolling down to old Maui, my boys, rolling down to old Maui. We're homeward bound from the Arctic round, rolling down to old Maui.
Sing sea shanties.
And now we sail with a favouring gale toward our island home. Our mainmast sprung, our whaling done, and we ain't got far to roam. Our stunsail booms have carried away, what care we for that sound? A living gale is after us, thank God we're homeward bound. Rolling down to old Maui, my boys, rolling down to old Maui. We're homeward bound from the Arctic round, rolling down to old Maui.
They do some messing about and some business. They have very clever choices of songs and write their own songs. But it's basically, it's just the noise that they make, that the way these four voices harmonise together is, like nothing you've heard. They're really, really, really,
Soft
really...
the breeze of the tropic seas, now the ice is far astern, and the native maids in the island glades are awaiting our return. Even now the cold black eyes look out, hoping one fine day to see our baggy sails running for the gales, rolling down to old Maui. Rolling down to old Maui, my boys, rolling down to old Maui. We're homeward bound from the Arctic round, rolling down to old Maui. Rolling down to old Maui, my boys, rolling down to old Maui. We're homeward bound from the Arctic round, rolling down to old Maui.
And then back to the main tent for Lady Maisry. So actually we had four blokes singing sort of mostly a cappella, and then ran away for no, it's three women in Lady Maisry, but for three women singing partly a cappella. They're very good. They do this thing they call diddling, where they play, you know, a Morris tune or a folk tune, but they vocalise it. They don't use instruments. They literally go diddly diddly diddly, which really works. I like the thing I was most looking forward to in the festival was Les Barker, who isn't a singer, he's a poet. I know various bits of his poetry. I've wanted to see him live for ages. He is wonderful. It said in his resume that he used to be an accountant before becoming a professional idiot. Talking to one of the guys from the Troman actually, who said, what must it be like to wake up in Les Barker's head each morning?
There are issues in life. One, of course, is the problem that has to be faced, that our world has finite resources, so I try to minimise waste. Our follies abound, they surround us, and as a result of these fears, I try to protect what's around us. Plastic bags, not used one for years. My bag's organic, okay. It's something I carry with pride, but something happened today. Me bag for life has just died.
It's not like performance poetry. It's more like musical. It's more like Stanley Holloway, I suppose. It's stupid rhymes, stupid jokes, logically following through stupid ideas. There's no censorship in his head. There's no sorting out, oh, that's too corny a joke, so you're just bombarded with silly jokes.
There was turmoil, a tearing and rending, and it hung like a limp piece of rag. The bottom fell out of my world when the bottom fell out of my bag. I had eggs and potatoes and such. Geez, I got more than one kind. But now none of it mattered that much. I have bigger things now on my mind. I could hear people, frank and so forthright. I saw a wise head shaking outside. I don't give him more than a fortnight. His bag for life has just
But he'll hit you with one about the Gulf War with a serious point. I absolutely loved him, and the audience. It was great. Half the audience knew the poetry, and he was, there's a lot of joining in choruses, and half didn't. So when you get to Deja Vu, a rhyme, it is impossible to experience deja vu for the first time. The first time someone experienced deja vu, it was the second. You have half the audience going, "It was the second," and the other half just said,
in sorrow more than amazement. The morning had turned to a sad one. I tried to buy a replacement. You can't have another. You've had one. It's a pill that can never be sugared. That's what we generally find. Your bag for life, sir, is buggered. You'll not be too far behind. By now she planted the seed. I gazed at me shopping and sighed. I think I bought more than I need. Me bag for life has just died.
Rory McLeod is really good. Don't get Rory McLeod. I do get Rory McLeod, I've just heard him a bit too much. He's a selfish performer. No, that's not true. And he goes on too long. I'm sure the next act was delayed by about 15 minutes because of his raps he was doing between it. He's alright. Yeah, other people like him, he's good.
Of course, I just like a bottomless pit. I'm married, but I don't have a certificate. A firm handshake will be adequate. Even a bastard like me can be affectionate. I've got my own trumpet and I'll always blow it. I'm married, but my wife doesn't know it. I'm married, but my wife doesn't know. I've lipstick on my neck, I hope it doesn't show. As subtle as my hobnail boots can tippy toe. She asks me questions like I'm in a quiz show. But my nose is growing like Pinocchio's. She's going to throw me with the L-P-O. I'm going to reap every little thing I sow. I'm married, but my wife doesn't know.
And then there was a lot of... I always say at these festivals that there will always be some diddly-diddly-dee bands. Some of them are very, very good, but they're always very, 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 very good, but I can't always tell them apart. I have to say that Altan, an Irish band who finished up the main tent, when they were getting into their big, loud, extreme fast diddly-diddly-deeing, they were very, 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 very good. That was coming to the end of the day, so I really wasn't in a space in which I was going to dance. So yeah, essentially that was yesterday. There wasn't very much time I wasn't in a tent. At 2 o'clock last night, I was at a secret location. There was a fire. I mean, there was a campfire, and there was round a campfire. Someone sang Lord Randall, and someone else sang Bella Ciao, and some people struck up The Day the Nazi Died, and they didn't know the second verse, so I sang that. Well, I did that thing I do that's like singing, so I didn't really get back to my little tent until about 4 a.m. And then I got up and went to the church. The church service was 9:30 this morning, so not done a lot of sleeping. Hello, I'm by the bus stop. We have proved once again what nice people who go to festivals are, because I got a lift. I don't stick my thumb out because I'm too big and scary to stick my thumb out. I think people wouldn't like that. But I put my little things into my little bag. It's only about a 45-minute walk, in fact, to connect with where the bus stop is. And they said, "Where are you going?" And I said, "To the bus stop, going back to Bristol." And they said, "Hop in," and drove me to the bus stop. And admittedly, it's about an hour until the bus comes, but can't complain too much about that. So I shall be back long before bedtime. So that was nice. Sunday after is always a bit of a winding down day, particularly when I was, as I said, up until the middle of the night yesterday. I did get up for 9:30 to go to church, given that the camping site is pretty much in the church's churchyard. I mean, we're not actually sleeping with the dead people, but it is really near. It would have been a bit rude not to. And they had a folky choir singing the hymns. I give the preacher lady a lot of points, because given it was a service intended for the people who've been at the festival, she kept it short, really short. She only had hymns everyone knew, like Lord of the Dance and My Eyes Have Seen the Glory. And she preached a very short sermon with a bit of audience participation, and then let us go, which I think is the right thing to do. Didn't really agree with her sermon. I mean, she preached on the workers in the vineyard, which is one of the rather shocking parables, isn't it? And I think it's about salvation, not about generosity of spirit. But I'm not here to review the sermon. Pretty much straight after that, we had in the church building, in fact, we had I think it was Bristol, Bristol based, but an amateur folk choir who were fun, and a bit of a surprise. I'm just looking at the programme to remember what his name was. A fellow named Nathan Ball, who was a singer-songwriter, who I started out not liking and ended up really liking a lot. He very laid back, very understated, very meditative songs, and a couple of again really laid back sort of John Martin-ish readings of classical folk songs. So that was good.
November, I've reason to remember. Must he arrive to his family and friends? He stood so astounded, surprised and confounded. See such a stranger once more in their sight. Came round with their rattling stories, rattling stories to hide cares away. Now he's as happy as those who are thousands of rich, contented he'll stay and not ramble away.
And then you get one more concert in the big tent. It finishes with a big diddly-diddly-dee yeah, it turns into a party. Of course it does. That's what you want at the end. Again, I'm looking at the programme. Oh yeah, they're called Brayback, Scottish band. Not always my favourite kind of thing, diddly-diddly-dee bands, but anything that involves dueling bagpipes and clog dancing has got to be great. We also had the lovely Lucy Ward to give her a full name. She doesn't. I mean, I think, as I've said, I had gone off her slightly when I found out that she wrote "I Love You" on other people's CDs, not just mine. And her hair isn't purple anymore, although she has fruit in it. But she did her usual mixture of political songs, traditional songs. She does a wonderfully sort of silly, sinister version of Lord Randall. You know, the guy who gets poisoned by eating green and yellow snakes in the woods, which, you know, can be sinister, can actually, I mean, it actually shows up as a Boy Scout song, doesn't it? And in fact, Bob Dylan did something to it. But this was sort of sexy and sinister and different. And she also did some Beatles covers.
Gonna be a star. Baby, you can drive my car, and baby, I love you. So my girl, now my prospects were good. She said, listen, baby, it's understood. Working for peanuts is all very fine, but I can show you a better time. Baby, you can drive my car. Yes, I'm gonna be a star. Baby, you can drive my car, and baby, I love you. Baby, baby, yeah. Baby, baby, yeah. Baby, baby, yeah. Baby, baby, yeah. I told my girl I can start right away. She said, listen, babe, I've got something to say. I got no car and it's breaking my heart, but I got a driver and that's the
Love
start.
Lucy Ward, she's fabulous. And so now I am waiting for the bus. Really?